Hi, my name is Giselle Torres. I am the Assistant Director of Indian School, and for my senior project, I'm going to be interviewing our fabulous playwright, Esther. So, Esther, this whole play started with you, and I would really want to know, like, what is your inspiration behind this piece? Like, how did you get your ideas, which is something that has been said throughout our entire rehearsal process.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on auto repeat.
Yeah, it's on auto repeat.
It was based on a story or song I grew up with as a child by my uncle Ted Ramirez, and it was called "Look to Babu Kiviri," and it's about a little boy who's taken out of his mother's arms and kidnapped and taken to the boarding schools. And it's a very sweet song and sad, and I thought I would write a children's story. And when I sat down to write it in my program here as an MFA student, an old man named Charlie showed up from somewhere, and he wanted his story told about going to the Indian school. So I started writing the story of Charlie. My original play was going to be a TFY piece with dance and music, and it's going to be tragic, but really tell the story of Indian school through what is now Sunny.
Yeah.
And he stayed, but he stayed as kind of the past of the one of the main characters, Charlie.
Yeah, so it started out as like a children's stories, yet it came into a play that we are suited for a college audience.
Yeah.
Let's see. For any other out of all the other medias of storytelling, like, why did you choose theater?
I am a theater artist. I have been my entire life. Maybe back before I could remember, I wasn't. But I came to theater through tech and acting, and then directing is what I've done mostly in the last few years. And I did a little bit of playwriting and had sent things out, and they got some attention. And I decided to go back to school and get an MFA. I have an MA, but I needed an MFA to teach with. So I did what I thought was natural and applied to directing programs. And then I was going to apply to ASU for the directing program, but the deadline was coming up, and it was a very, very intense directing application. I didn't have time to do it. I wanted to, but I didn't have time. So I thought, I have these plays. I'm going to apply to the dramatic writers program, and got in. And you asked me a question. I have no idea what I was talking about. Oh, so yes, that's why I write for theater, because theater is my sacred space. Theater is my home. Theater is where I want to live my entire life. So.
Awesome. So how long have you started writing this story? Like how?
Well, I started really writing it when I started here. I'm in my last semester, so it's going on 3 years ago. I took a research methods course with Stephanie, and we started doing research on something, and I decided I'm going to research the history of Indian schools, and I'm going to research people's first-hand accounts of having gone through it or being children of people who had gone through it. So almost 3 years, and I'm still working on it.
Awesome. So how has your involvement with our director and our dramaturg has been going along? How is the process taking place?
So I met Michael Scholar Jr. at dinner. I think it's going on maybe a year and a half ago, and found out that he was also Yaqui, and I knew they were considering the play for a main stage, for ASU main stage, and so when I saw him, and here he comes. I'm talking about you.
Are you interviewing on video right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I asked Michael if he would be interested in directing it, because it seemed right to have someone who is also Yaqui be a director for a play about Yaqui people and those things. So it just all seemed, it was weird, like things clicked into place in a lot of different ways for this play that seemed almost like magic. So or the ancestors leading us together, one of those things. So
Yeah.
that was my connection with Michael. And then you asked me another question, and I already forgot it.
How is your relationship with the dramaturgist? Dramaturgist. Okay, dramaturg.
Dramaturgicalist. So that she was my instructor for one of my classes, and I think now there are a lot of things that happened. I think she was hired and then was going to be doing some dramaturgy for some of the main stage shows, and as you know, she's dramaturging this and the Crucible, which is happening simultaneously. So yeah, she did a lot of the kind of for new play script dramaturgy, which I'd never experienced. I'd only experienced dramaturgs doing kind of research on production, that type of thing. So it was very new. She did some outreach to different places. That's how I ended up at the Institute for American Indian Arts, because she had a connection there, and they did the staged reading of it. And so that was something. And she would process everything after the fact and talk about different things related to the script based on activities. So yeah, and now she's into the production dramaturgy, so
yes.
I don't really connect with her anymore, but that's what our relationship was like earlier in the process.
That's good. So during the times you've been sitting through rehearsal, seeing like the show like really coming together, what are some certain moments in the play where you thought, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I envisioned when I was writing this?
Oh, I think all of the Sunny, young Charlie things. I think Eleanor's a brilliant actor, and Michael had told me after he saw her in the auditions, he said she's just this great actor who makes choices, and you can see her making choices. And I hadn't seen her, I didn't see the auditions, but the first day, the first read through, I was just. It took my breath away, because it was young Charlie and Sunny's voice in herself. So that for sure is like, yeah, that's exactly what I heard, and it surprised me, because I'm a theater artist, so I know whatever the playwright has in their head is not going to be what you're going to see on stage, and that's the beauty of theater. That's the intertextual nature of it's not. It doesn't. The words belong to me, but then it goes on stage and it belongs to the designers and the director and the actors and all those folks.
Cool. So one of my final questions is that as we are approaching opening night, like what is the takeaway that you want the audience to get from viewing Indian School?
I want them to see the generational harm that Indian schools did, and how they're still harming families today in indigenous communities and First Nations, and how they are, how they've been harmed that way. And also to see that there is a way back, and it's not by dominant culture, it's not by the colonists trying to fix what they did wrong. It's really about indigenous communities healing the way they know how to heal, and letting that process happen.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking for today. I really look forward to seeing the show with you. Thank you.